Yesterday, when I was grocery shopping with my dad, I made a new friend. I make a lot of new friends at Market Basket. As I stood making a very serious decision between blueberry and cinnamon pound cake for our next guild meeting, I heard a voice say, "Hi," in the enthusiasm of a soon-to-be 4-year-old. Looking way down, I saw this little guy with a half-eaten cookie in one hand and looking up at me with curiosity, with his mother standing beside him, slightly embarrassed. I returned his greeting. I asked him about the cookie and other important things, like how old he was and his name. He proudly told me that he was turning 4 tomorrow, that's today, but his name was Teddy Joseph. I'm not sure if that was his middle name or his last name, and that his cookie was good. He told me these things with the certainty that we adults sometimes lose through life's challenges and setbacks. Well, today's St. Athanasius is a good counterbalance for any of us who feel off balance or maybe tentative about who God is and who we are in relation to him and to one another. Athanasius faced a lot of tough opposition in his life as a bishop. His main opponents were those who embraced the Arian heresy that Jesus was not divine, that he was only figuratively the Son of God. It seems almost impossible to imagine that only 200 plus years after the death of Jesus, that this would be up for debate, but it was. And back in the 3rd century, it wasn't just a rhetorical debate, but one of threats of violence that led to Athanasius' banishment and exile by the emperors of his time. In total, he'd been in exile for over 17 years. The easy way out would have been for Athanasius to capitulate and end the decades-long battle for the truth. However, as we know, saints do not give in to the world, but instead they stand with and for God, no matter the cost. And part of this would involve Athanasius escaping to the desert, where it is reported that he wrote The Life of St. Anthony, a biography that popularized the monastic movement in the Western Church. I'd like to share with you an excerpt that sheds light on how St. Athanasius inspired people like ourselves with these words. He said, "Let us continue to be strenuous in pursuing virtue. Let us not grow tired of seeking it, for the Lord has become a guide for us and for every person." St. Athanasius went on to quote St. Paul, who said, "I die daily," in reference to living each day and night as if it were his last. He posits that if we were to make our moral decisions each day as if that day or night were to be our last, then we would only choose what pleases God and what conforms to the truth of Jesus. He argues that if we were to keep the reality of the imminence of our death in mind, we would never be overcome with the temptation to sin or to deny God. He says, whether it is the temptations of the flesh or anger against a brother or sister, we would not choose instant gratification, and we would not hold on to anger. Finally, he concludes with the encouragement, "Beloved, let's be zealous in carrying out the work we have committed ourselves to, our vocations in this life. And let us travel to the end of the road on which we have begun the journey." Beautiful words, inspirational words. My brothers and sisters, today's saint is a role model for holding fast to the truth of Jesus Christ and having the courage of our convictions in him, one day at a time, with the certainty of a saint and the joy of a child, knowing the truth about the life and love of God.